Welcome to AFK Asleep, everyone. Our journey tonight doesn't start on a familiar road or a bustling city, but in a place where the sea itself seems to breathe. Before you get comfortable, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you truly enjoy these calm journeys through the worlds you love. Drop a comment below too, telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's one of my favorite parts, seeing our community connect from every corner of the map. And as always, which Pokémon do you think we'll encounter first? Tonight we are not climbing over stone. We are moving through it. Between Fuchsia City and Cinnabar Island, the sea gathers its strength and rushes along Route 20, pushing and pulling around white limestone like a living tide. The islands stand bright above the waves, their bases crowned with foam that never rests. Within them lie caves shaped by water and time, rooms linked by narrow throats of rock, corridors carved by rivers that still run. Dripping ceilings write patient patterns. Stalactites reach down, stalagmites lift back up. Sometimes they meet and become pillars that hold the cool weight of the island above. Inside, the air changes with every level. Near the mouth, it is damp and brisk with the gentle roar of distant falls. Deeper in, rivers race through dark channels and spill into hidden basins. And far below, a breath of true cold waits, a cold that lingers year-round, a cold that feels like winter, folded into stone. They say the heart of that cold belongs to a blue-winged guardian who keeps a nest in the deepest chamber where the air shines with frost. We will go slowly. We will notice small things. We will move with the water and with our breath. So take a breath and let us wander together into the Seafoam Islands. Wind follows you to the shore, bringing the smell of salt and kelp. Waves throw white lace against the limestone and pull it back again. You stand at the edge of a narrow inlet where the sea has carved a doorway into the island. The ceiling of the entrance slopes gently, and spray beads along its edge like pearl. A shallow pool collects each surge and settles as the water retreats. The stone underfoot is smooth, worn by years of tides and feet. You step forward, and the sound of the outside world softens into a steady hush. The first chamber is cool and wide. The light from the mouth of the cave lifts the pale walls and turns the pools into glass. From a ledge above, Zubat flow in a quiet ribbon, their movement like a breeze you can see. You hear them long before you truly notice them, a thin pulse in the air that maps the room with care. They slip into a higher crack and vanish, leaving a small stillness behind. Near the entrance pool, a Psyduck stands with its feet in the water and its hands at its head. Its gaze is vacant and gentle. Ripples move around its ankles as it shifts its weight. For a moment it seems to forget where it is, then it lowers its hands and watches a bubble drift to the surface. A little farther out, a Golduck cuts through the inlet like a blade of deep blue, smooth and sure. Its surface wants to draw breath. The gem on its brow glints, and then it is gone again, part of the water. You follow a path of dry stone to the back of the chamber. The corridor narrows and the ceiling lowers just enough for you to feel tucked in. Your hand trails along the wall. It is cool and faintly damp, with small terraces formed by the slow overflow of mineral-rich water. The steps drop gently into a second room where an underground stream runs from left to right, fast and clear. The sound is bright, like 1,000 tiny bells softened by distance. On a flat rock by the bank, a simple Pokeball rests, its surface scuffed and salt-touched. Next to it, a coil of escape rope sits neatly rolled, dry and strong. You set them in a tidy line, a quiet thank you to whoever last passed this way. Across the stream, a block of limestone has broken free at some far-off time and now sleeps on the floor, rounded by water into a careful oval. Trainers once pushed stones like this to slow the current and cross to new ground. You watch the water tease its edges and move on. The corridor bends and the light grows dim. You strike a small lamp and keep it close to the ground, letting the beam stay soft. The floor glistens. Stalactites above drip into shallow bowls that have grown around each drip. The bowls overflow into little runnels that twitch and shine over the stone. Here and there, speleothems have grown into slender ribbons and small curtains. You pass them slowly so that the air does not tremble. A flicker of red draws your eye to a low pool where a star-yew rests half submerged. The gem at its center glows like a watchful ember. It lifts one arm and then another, not hurried, only adjusting to the gentle tug of the stream. Downstream, a starmie turns once, its points catching the thin light in order, a slow star in a private firmament. The water glows softly around them and then darkens again. Past the pools, a ledge leads upward into a lofted chamber where golbat roost in the thousands. The sound is a living ocean made of wings. You stand at the threshold and feel the rush of air pressed by their flight. They lift in waves and settle again, the colony rolling like a soft storm. A few pass near you, close enough for you to sense the shape of their movement, confident and precise. You bow your head to the room and step back, leaving them to their rest. You take a side passage toward the heart of the island. The air cools. The slope grows steeper. The sound of water deepens and a hidden fall voices itself behind the stone. You come to a narrow rift where a small bridge of rock spans a fast channel. The water below is braided with foam, bright and quick, churning along the carved walls. You cross in 3 slow steps and feel the cool breath rising from the gap, clean and steady. On the far side, the floor widens and levels out. A collection of small items rests on a shelf of stone, arranged as if by careful hands. A great ball with a single scratch along the top. A pearl no larger than your thumbnail, smooth and warm in the light. A nugget the color of honey. A folded cloth bound with thin twine. You lift the cloth and find a heart scale, thin as a petal, with a sheen that reddens and pales as you turn it. You return everything as you found it, and whisper a soft thank you to the quiet. The passage lowers again and bends into a room where the main river slows and drifts in a deep curve. Seal break the surface in pairs, round heads gleaming, whiskers catching beads of water. One lifts its nose and blows a small stream of mist, then slips under the surface with a neat roll. Dugong drift through a slant of light from a hidden skylight, white on white, like winter clouds moving underwater. They coast without effort, then rest along a shelf of ice that clings to the far wall. Their eyes close. Their bodies rise and fall with a long, peaceful rhythm. You step softly along the bank and feel the temperature fall another small step. Your breath shows as a pale ghost before your face and fades at once. A draught flows from a dark throat at the back of the room. Crystals bloom along its rim, delicate and clear. The stone under your hand grows colder, and the damp turns to a fine frost that crackles when you lift your palm. You know you are nearing the lower levels where the cave holds its private winter. The throat opens into a chamber with 2 levels linked by a frozen ramp. The ceiling sparkles with thin needles of ice, and the floor is veined with pale blue. Your steps are slow and steady. On the far side, a cluster of figures stands near a wall of rime. At first you take them for statues, Then one shifts with a dance-like motion, and you see their faces purple and serene, framed by pale hair. Jinx move in a slow pattern that keeps the cold even and kind, as if they tend to the air itself. Their movements are graceful and small, and the chamber responds with soft glows that rise and fade along the frost. You incline your head. They do not turn. They continue their work, keepers of temperature and quiet. In a niche near the ramp, a small cache waits for any traveler who reaches this point. A thin blue bottle labeled Ice Heel, a single rare candy, a grip claw that feels like polished bone, shaped for a partner you do not see. An ice stone the color of pale dawn, cool in your hand. You take nothing. You arrange them neatly and leave a simple pokeball beside them as a gift for the next person who might need one. The way forward narrows to a keyhole. You turn sideways and pass through. The cold deepens and becomes a presence. The air carries a silver taste. Frost flowers crisp along the wall and break gently under your fingertips. Each step makes a hush like paper being folded. The light changes, not brighter, not darker, but cleaner, as if the air itself is made of fine glass. Ahead, the tunnel opens over a basin wide and still. The surface is ice, clear in some places, milk white in others, traced with lines that look like maps of quiet continents. Stalactites hang in long rows and give a soft music when drops touch and freeze. You move along the rim until the basin reveals its center, and there the room opens into a dome where breath becomes small and thought becomes simple. You stop, you stand, you look up. A shape moves at the far side of the dome and gathers the light as it moves. Blue feathers hold a weightless frost. A long tail trails like a ribbon of winter sky. Wings lift and settle with no sound at all, and the air answers by turning colder and more clear. Eyes like bright cherries open and regard you without alarm. The beak tilts. The crest rises with soft authority. You have reached the nest of Articuno. It is not a nest as a small bird would build. It is a cathedral of ice and air. A platform of layered frost rises above the center of the dome. Along its edge, a ring of delicate spires stands like candles that never burn. The floor around it is corbelled with snow that has never known a footprint. At the near side of the platform, a single feather rests upright, frozen into the rim, a blue flame made of ice. Articuno watches you. Not as a guard watches, but as a mountain watches the weather. You feel no fear, only the sense that you have been expected in a way that does not require words. A breeze circles the dome. When the great wings unfold, the sound is like silk drawn very slowly. The bird lifts and drifts across the space, and the air below grows colder in its wake. Snow crystals gather where the currents cross and fall in small stars that vanish when they touch the stone. You lower your gaze and stand very still. Your breath is steady, in, out. The cold moves over your face like water. Articuno slows and comes to rest on the platform with one clean motion. The tail settles in graceful arcs. The head turns once to the left and once to the right, taking in the room, then returns to you. The eyes soften. The crest smooths. You feel it then, a message without language. You are inside a sanctuary and you are safe. A pathway of ice descends from the platform to the basin edge. It was not there when you entered. It grows along the curve of the ice with the patience of frost itself. You step onto it and find that it holds firm and quiet beneath your weight. You do not climb. You walk a little closer, not to reach, not to claim, only to share the space as a respectful guest. Along the path, small treasures have been caught by the cold. A big pearl sits in a cradle of clear ice, lit from within by the pale room. A waterstone lies half embedded in a glaze, its blue true and deep. A single ultra ball is set against the rim like a round shadow in snow. You leave them where they rest, their stillness part of the place. When you are close enough to see the texture of the chest and the sheen of the down, you stop. You place your hand over your heart and bow your head. The only sound is the slow breath of winter made visible. Articuno lowers its head in return. Ice crystals ring the lashes of your eyes and then melt with your next breath. You do not count time here. The room holds it for you. At last the wings lift again. One slow beat. Then another. The air shifts and silver snow tilts like a quiet curtain. The bird turns and faces a high crack where night sky hides behind stone, a seam of darker blue in a dome of white. You see a thread of moonlight there, fine as hair. The long tail streams and curves as the great shape rises, not to leave, but to circle once more. The arc of its flight draws a line of cold that you can feel on your skin. You know you will keep that memory for a very long time. You step back from the path and return to the rim of the basin. The ice under your boots sings with a note you feel in your knees. The tunnel behind you now shines with a faint bloom of frostlight, as if the room has offered you a lantern to carry with you. You take one slow breath and turn to the way you came. The climb toward the upper levels is gentle and sure. The air warms by small degrees. Your breath fades back into the invisible. Seal roll from a shelf and slip into a channel with a soft splash. Starry glow like little beacons in a bend where the water rests. A slowpoke sits in a shallow pool near a trickle that tastes of salt and limestone. It blinks at the drop that touches its nose and then blinks again, content to think about that one small moment for as long as it takes. You accept the lesson and keep walking. A shelf near the corridor holds a neat line of small supplies. A max elixir in a dark bottle. A clean cloth folded around a pearl. A single ultra ball set beside a plain poke ball. A short coil of rope. You arrange them just so and leave a nugget as your own small thanks. The dim light makes the metal glow like warm daylight for a heartbeat. Then it settles back into the hush. You pause where the main river passes through a stone gate. Horseair flick in the eddies and catch tiny things that drift. A crabby lifts its claws and sets them down again in a pattern, only it seems to know. Farther out, a kingler raises its great pincer as if to greet the water itself, then lowers it and strides sideways into a pocket where foam gathers. Above you, Zubat return to their roost in a soft stream, the air briefly knit by their passage, then left to rest. You take one more breath and listen as the islands hum. The sea speaks against the limestone. The caves hold their own winter and their own stars. The night is long enough for all of it. You walk on, calm and unhurried, carrying the cool of the deep room within you like a quiet light. You move with the river again, quiet and steady, letting the stone guide your feet. The air feels kind now, cool but no longer cold. A silver film of moisture glosses the walls where the lower winter yields to the temperate breath of upper rooms. You pause to listen. Far above, water drops in a slow count. Near at hand, the stream runs with a soft murmur that never hurries. A fork in the corridor opens to the left. The path slopes toward a room filled with pale light. A skylight must be above, a thin shaft where night air drifts in and falls like a curtain. You step into the glow and find a basin ringed with smooth stone. The surface is calm except where eddies coil along the rim. Staryu hold their places at the edge with small adjustments of hidden force. Each core pulses with a gentle red, brightening and softening like a heart at rest. One turns slowly, aligns with the shaft of sky, and settles again as if listening to a star you cannot see. Beyond the basin, a narrow shelf of rock leads to a ledge at the waterline. You crouch and trail your fingers through a seam of cold current. A pollywag glides from the shadow of a ledge, tail thin as a ribbon, body bright as a marble. It hovers in the current and wobbles forward, then back, as if practicing a small dance. Its belly spiral shows clearly for a moment, dark and alive beneath thin skin. It drifts closer, studies your reflection, and then flicks away, content to be a small swimmer in a large room. You rise and follow the shelf to a throat where the cave narrows. Here the sound gathers and quickens. Foam tugs at the corners where walls pinch the water. A shelder clings to a hollow at knee height, shell tight as a clasp. Its tongue peaks and tests the current, then withdraws with a patient snap. A little farther along, another shell sits like a violet star against the limestone. You hear the faintest tap within the hinge and feel the quiet pulse of a life conserved by armor and tide. The way opens at once into a chamber where the river falls in a smooth sheet. The drop is not tall. It is perfect. The lip is a pale bar where water pauses for a breath, then flares to silk and turns to mist below. You sit on a broad stone and let your mind match the rhythm. The mist settles on your cheeks and hands with a freshness that feels like a new idea arriving without effort. Near your seat, a small cache rests where 3 stones meet. A folded cloth holds a max elixir in a dark bottle. Beside it lies a water stone that glows with a soft inner blue. A single heart scale leans against the bottle, as if the 3 were arranged to please the eye of any traveler who noticed. You set your palm over them in a brief gesture of thanks and leave them as they are. The river braids into channels on the far side and threads a field of rounded boulders. You follow stepping stones across the shallowest tongue of water and keep to the dry line where pale sand shows the least. The air of the room has the clean scent of limestone and rain. In a notch where the wall and floor meet, a magic carp rests in a small pool left by the last swell. It lifts its head and lowers it again with a soft splash. You watch the red flank flash once in the thin light, earnest and true. The pool connects to the main flow by a slim runnel. When the little fish turns, the water offers a path, and the body follows without strain. A lesson lands gently. Return to the river, and it will carry you. You travel through a row of galleries where the ceiling lowers and lifts like a slow breath. The stone shows the scripts of water levels from long seasons. Lines run along the flanks of the walls, bands of mineral laid down by patience. A slow amber, a chalk white, a faint green where time held a different element. Your lamp dances across them, but the colors do not change. They are themselves and will remain so. A hush falls as you enter a long hall whose floor is a mosaic of shallow pools. Each one is rimmed by mineral lips, like steps carved by drops rather than hands. The water in the bowls is still and clear. You can see tiny crystals growing on the inner edges, reaching as if to meet their opposite number across the pool. In 2 of the bowls, crabbies stand on tiptoe and hold their claws above the surface. They lower the claws, touch the water with a careful tap, then lift them again in a measured ritual that belongs only to them. Foam feathers along their mouths and vanishes. When you pass, they do not startle. They continue their quiet ceremony. A low arch returns you to the sound of a larger river. The water is deep here, and a slow current tugs toward a darker mouth. Horsia hover in the eddies near a tumbled pile of rock, tails wrapped to small protrusions, eyes bright. One releases a tiny vortex that spirals outward and fades. Another answers with a tighter coil, a playful reply in water rather than words. The current pulls, they adjust, the game resumes, and the river does not mind. The tunnel bends right. A pillar of stone rises from floor to ceiling at the elbow, narrow as a tree trunk and dense as a promise. Someone has left a small string of fines at its base. A plain Pokeball with a tiny chip near the button. An Ultra Ball, scuffed but sound. A nugget the size of a bean, warm gold in the thin light. A big pearl that gleams with the color of clouds. You rest for a moment with your back against the pillar and feel its cool strength. When you stand, you straighten the line of gifts and walk on with a sense that the pillar watched and approved. The air grows brinier as you near a passage that leans toward the sea. You hear a rhythmic thrum beneath the splash, like a large pulse measured at a distance. At the end of the passage, a window of stone opens to a long cavern where the tide breathes through a gate no wider than a small room. The sea rolls in, rests and rolls out. Dugong ride the breath like white leaves on a winter wind. They rise on the swell and turn with a grace you feel in your chest. One lifts a head, blinks with a slow contentment, then drifts down again to settle along a lip of ice where water strokes the fur smooth as silk. You sit where spray cannot reach and let time loosen. The tide sets a count that has nothing to do with clocks. In, rest, out, rest. Somewhere beyond the gate, the world turns under stars, but here there is only the exchange of water and cavern. Your shoulders drop another degree. Your hands soften. The hush under the thrum reaches into your bones. When you rise, a side stair carved by water and boot heels curls up to a higher traverse. The stair was cut by years, then honored by feet that chose the same way. You climb slowly and look back once. The white shapes gleam below, the gate breathes, and a faint ribbon of moonlight lies along the swell like a promise kept. The traverse guides you to a balcony above a deep blue pool. At first the surface looks empty. Then a glow freckles the depth as Star You and Star Me wheel in soft constellations. Not in a hurry, not in a pattern you can predict, only in a patient drift that belongs to the quiet. A long shadow slips along the bottom and turns with a smooth authority. For a breath, the water shivers. You think of ancient power and choose stillness. The shadow passes, untroubled, and the pool returns to its star-made sleep. Another corridor narrows, then opens to an antechamber, warm with a faint draft of surface air. Slowpoke lounge along the edge of a clear run, tails dipped, eyes distant. One seems to consider a drop that has not yet fallen. Another gazes at the ceiling and smiles at nothing. The calm here is a net with very wide knots. Thoughts slip through. What remains is a pleasant weight behind the eyes and a sense that the world can be simple when allowed. On a rock shelf nearby, a slowbro dozes upright, shoulder clasped upon its tail like a small grey crescent moon. The pair shift as one, a single, long breath shared between two bodies. You feel the unique peace they make together and bow your head in quiet respect. The stream at their feet carries a thin silver line of foam. It draws past them and on into the hall like a sentence that knows where to go. You pass a rack of slender stalagmites and enter a space where the ceiling lowers to form a natural porch. From the porch, a view opens down across a series of cascade rooms. Each room is a step lower than the last. Water falls from lip to lip, and the air is brushed with constant whisper. At the farthest pool, a golduck cuts a long, clean arc, turns at the wall without a ripple, and glides back through its own path as if the water had requested another stroke. The gem on its brow glows once like a thought remembered, then dims again in contented rhythm. You descend a second stair and find a small work of hands where travelers have shifted 3 rounded boulders to make a bridge across a narrow fosse. The water there is strong but shallow. The stones tame its push, just enough to welcome dry steps. You place your feet upon them and cross with gratitude for unknown planning. On the other side, a cluster of items has been tucked in a dry alcove. A coil of rope, a small tin of salve, a neat stack of spare cloth. You leave a pearl and a thank you whispered to the limestone. The path becomes a long hallway where the walls glitter with tiny crystals growing outward like frost caught in mid-bloom. The lights from your lamp break into gentle halos on the facets. A thin white film coats the floor along the edges where the air dries a little. You breathe in, you breathe out. The hallway seems to hum with a tone so low you feel it more than hear it, a murmur of stones simply being stone. A pool opens to your right, black as ink at its heart. 2 faint red lanterns glow beneath the surface, drift to the edge and lift. Tentacle rise like fragile bells. Their bodies are clear, their red orbs calm. When they hang just below the meniscus, sunlight caught days ago seems to gather within and release as a pale beam that folds back into the water. They lower and lift in slow cycles, in tune with a rhythm older than the tide. Deeper in the same pool, a distant crown of larger orbs flickers and wanes. A tentacruel rests at depth, most tentacles drawn in, a few long threads trailing in the slow drift. It does not approach, it is not concerned. It is part of the room, the way a pillar is part of a hall. You nod to the pool from your vantage and move along, gratitude soft as the light. You reach a narrow slot where air moves with a cooler hand. The slot leads to a pocket of winter that feels like an echo of the deep heart you visited. Thin rime feathers along the corners. The floor glazes in patches where condensed breath has frozen on contact. At the far wall, a small seam glows faintly blue. You draw closer and find an ice stone sleeping in a cradle of clear ice, as if the room made a glass bed for it, and will wake it only when asked with kindness. You leave it be, warmed by a quiet joy that places can hold gifts without needing to give them. The path rises toward a lip where the sea speaks louder. You step over the lip and onto a shelf where night air spills in from a tall slit that faces the open water. The wind brings salt and the scent of kelp and the rumor of far waves meeting farther shore. Outside, the sky is a deep field with very few stars. A low cloud bank moves like a single whale along the horizon. You sit on the warmest part of the shelf and let the world beyond the cave pass at its unmeasured speed. When you stand, you notice a small offering laid in a tidy line near the window. A great ball, a grip claw shaped for careful holding, a single ice heel bottle catching a cold glint. Someone was thoughtful here. You straighten the line, add nothing, take nothing, and feel the way gratitude can be part of breath rather than speech. You turn inward again and follow a gallery where the ceiling arches high. The room carries a faint echo even when you do not speak. Your footsteps answer themselves from far, as if earlier you had already taken this path and left a soft sound for you to follow. The far wall hosts a wide curtain of flowstone where minerals have draped themselves into pleats. When water runs, the pleats shine. Tonight they are dry, and their pale folds rest with quiet dignity. A low stair returns you to the river, now broad and unhurried. Slow currents comb the bed with gentle passes. On a sandbar, a small clutch of tiny stones sparkles, big pearls in the making, or perhaps just limestone kissed by time. You kneel and watch the surface for a while without seeking anything. The surface answers with slight turns, a simple book that writes itself line by line. You feel the shape of the night begin to change. The hum of the cave stays constant, but the quality of the air carries a lighter note. Somewhere far above, the color of the sky is preparing to soften. In here the change is a thought before it is a word. You walk on with the sense that rest is near, not as an ending, but as the next good thing. The corridor leads to a room you have not seen before. It is modest and perfect. A crescent of sand gathers along one side where a small channel meets a quiet pool. The pool is fed by a drip that falls in slow intervals from a stone tongue above. Each drop lands with a sound like a note played on glass. The opposite bank is padded with moss where spray reaches and rests. The ceiling is low enough to feel shelter, high enough to breathe. You set your pack by the moss and kneel to touch the water. It is cool and clear. You cup your hands and bring a little to your face. The scent is clean, with a hint of the sea and a hint of rain. You sit on the moss. It yields and holds you. Your breath finds the measure of the drip without effort. In a few heartbeats, the rest of the cave fades to a kind hum beyond the room. Across the pool, a seal has tucked itself into a cradle of stone. It opens one eye, closes it, and lifts its whiskers with a small, content sigh. A starry gem glows under the shallow shelf near your feet, a nightlight set by the room itself. Above, a pair of zubat cross the mouth of the corridor like two syllables of a sleepy word, then vanish toward their roost. You lie back. The moss receives the weight and distributes it in the best ways. The stone beneath is firm with a memory of the day's warmth. The drip keeps time but never insists. Your shoulders yield. Your jaw loosens. Your hands rest open. The room feels like the inside of a shell where the sea's voice is softer and kinder than in the open air. You think of the deep dome and the feather held in ice. You think of the way frost made light into a clean thing and how the air itself changed when wings moved. You think of the long breath of the tide at the gate and of the starry constellation beneath the balcony and of the way Slowpoke mastered the art of doing almost nothing and yet doing it perfectly. These thoughts are not a list to hold. They are colors that can blend and fade to a single calm. You close your eyes and let the cave continue without you. The Seafoam Islands will keep their winter and their rivers, their pearls and their stairs, their rooms for work and rooms for sleep. Your place here is simple. You came kindly. You listened. You will rest. The drip counts 3 slow drops. You match them with 3 slow breaths. You feel the island exhale and you exhale with it. You feel the island inhale and you let your chest rise. You remain in that rhythm, safe and quiet, while night carries you toward the soft edge of dawn. The breath of the cave grows lighter now, as though it too is drifting toward rest. The wind from the sea no longer presses so strongly through the tunnels. It only sighs now and then, a distant whisper reminding you that the tide still turns outside, that the world keeps moving softly in its own rhythm. You lie on the moss and let the quiet settle. There is no need to move yet. The pool beside you mirrors a faint blue gleam that must come from somewhere deep in the rock. Perhaps it is moonlight traveling through cracks, or perhaps it is the last reflection of Articuno's wings still echoing through the stone. Whatever it is, it glows gently, a steady, silent heartbeat that keeps the dark from ever being too dark. You shift slightly, feeling the damp cool beneath you. The cave smells of salt, of fresh minerals, of time. Every inhale is new, yet older than memory. The moss is thick and resilient, holding its own small warmth. Around you, life continues quietly. A starry pulses in the pool, a slow rhythm-like breath. Somewhere farther off, a golduck stroke cuts through water in a deep tunnel, rhythmic, sure, unhurried. This is how the Seafoam Islands breathe. Not fast, not slow, just constant. You begin to realize how much of the day has fallen away. The sounds that once belonged to the surface, the chatter of cities, the grind of roads, the noise of clocks, they have no meaning here. There is no hour, only the pulse of water and the gentle echo of movement. The world above can be busy. It can turn and demand and spin. But here, in this quiet archipelago, nothing rushes. You listen closer. Each drip from the ceiling is a reminder that time moves gently when no one measures it. Each current tracing its path along the stone has probably been running for thousands of years, carving the same lines, never asking for recognition. Even Articuno, that majestic guardian of frost and silence, does not move for applause. It simply is. It keeps the balance, the cold, and the peace that the world forgets to hold. You wonder, for a moment, how long the bird has been here, watching the same water freeze and thaw, guarding the same crystal chambers long after one generation of travelers fades into the next. To Articuno, perhaps there is no before or after. There is only this, the steady hum of ice, the soft glow of blue, the stillness of patience. Patience, it is a word that feels different here. Not the waiting kind, but the breathing kind. The kind that does not need to rush toward an ending. The kind that understands that beauty happens when you let things unfold in their own time. The staryu in the pools do not force their light to shine brighter. The seal do not race to reach the open water. The slowpoke do not hurry their thoughts to catch up with the world. They all move in rhythm with the island, and the island in turn moves with the sea. You imagine what it would be like to live that way, to match the pace of the tide, to allow the world to be enough without the need to grasp or climb. There is wisdom in this cold, gentle place. Not the kind written in books, but the kind that drips one drop at a time until it becomes the shape of the cave itself. The longer you stay, the more you notice how even stillness is full of motion. Ice forms, waterfalls, air shifts. Nothing truly stops. It only softens. You roll to your side, propping your head slightly, eyes on the pool. The staryu glows brighter for a moment, and then fades again, its core synchronizing with the slow rhythm of the water's movement. You can almost feel your own heartbeat syncing with it, a shared pulse between you and the world. And then something catches your eye. A faint shimmer drifting downward through the pool, a feather frozen mid-descent, turning slowly as it falls. Its edges glitter in faint silver light, each curve like glass. You do not need to touch it to know where it came from. The realization brings a soft warmth to your chest. It is one of Articuno's feathers, carried here by the current or perhaps by will. It settles on the water's surface, floating perfectly, refusing to sink. The ripples around it widen and then smooth until it drifts untouched in the center of the pool. A gift from the heart of the island. You smile quietly to yourself. You think about all the travelers before you who might have walked these same tunnels, crossed these same waters, felt the same quiet astonishment. None of them could have taken this feather away. It does not belong to anyone. It belongs to the place, and in that you realize something gentle and true, that not everything beautiful needs to be kept. Some things only ask to be witnessed, remembered, and released. The thought rests softly in your mind like snow settling on still water. You close your eyes again. In the darkness behind your eyelids, the world feels even more vivid. You see the upper chambers again, the rivers winding through limestone, the glimmer of pearls half buried in sand, the glow of bioluminescent starmie lighting the deep blue. You remember how Zubat painted the air with invisible maps, how Psyduck stood perfectly still, learning peace in confusion. You remember the way Articuno's eyes met yours, calm, ancient, and forgiving. Forgiving. That word lingers too, because the Seafoam Islands are a place that asks nothing of you but to arrive as you are. You don't need to know every step before you take it. You don't need to rush toward meaning. You don't even need to fix the noise that hums in your mind when the world above feels heavy. The island doesn't demand your strength, it offers you quiet. And sometimes, quiet is all we really need to find our way again. The water nearby hums low. You can almost imagine Articuno circling far above, the frost drifting like slow confetti through the air. Somewhere, dugong are resting on ice shelves, seal are dozing in underwater chambers, and the Zubat are folded upside down in dark ceilings, their hearts beating softly in rhythm with yours. The cave holds all of it together. Sound, stillness, warmth, cold, woven like one endless lullaby. The feather in the pool glows brighter, reflecting a soft, shifting blue. The light travels up the walls, tracing faint cracks in the limestone like veins of moonlight. It moves up the ceiling, glimmers through tiny stalactites, and turns the whole chamber into a living constellation. The reflection dances gently across your hands and over your chest. It feels like the mountain itself is tucking you in. You take another breath, in through the nose, slow and full, letting the coolness fill your lungs. Out through the mouth, easy, unforced. With each breath, the air feels a little thicker with peace. You can feel the weight of your body soften into the moss. The earth beneath holds you completely. You listen. The cave has one more voice to share, a voice you almost missed before. It's the distant hum of the sea pressing gently against the limestone walls. It's the song that has shaped these islands for thousands of years, one wave at a time. The sound is low, round, eternal. It doesn't rush, it just continues, as if reminding you that nothing fragile truly disappears. It only changes form, from water to stone, from air to sound, from thought to dream. A droplet lands beside you, rippling the pool where the feather floats. The circles widen, meet the edges, and fold back toward the center. When they meet, the surface returns to glass. You can feel your eyelids grow heavy, not from exhaustion, but from contentment. You think of leaving, of finding the way back up through the tunnels, but the thought doesn't have urgency anymore. You could stay. You could rest here for a while. You could let the world take care of itself without your help for a few hours. And in that thought, something releases inside you, and the constant need to move, to achieve, to climb. You let it drift away like the ripples moving outward. The cave breathes once more, and you breathe with it. The walls glow faintly, as if responding to your stillness. The air hums, the water murmurs, the temperature settles at perfect calm. You realize now that the Seafoam Islands are not cold at all, not truly. They are gentle. They keep what the world forgets, the balance between solitude and comfort, between strength and surrender. The cold here isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It clears away noise until all that's left is what's real. Breath, warmth, and the faint pulse of life that keeps moving, even in stillness. You curl your fingers slightly in the moss. Its softness is almost like fur, or like snow that refuses to melt. You think of the Pokémon sleeping nearby, of how they all trust this place completely. Even Articuno sleeps sometimes, surely, somewhere high in its frozen cathedral, wrapped in wings of calm. You smile. Maybe that's the secret of all legendary beings, not endless power, but endless peace. The feather drifts closer to the edge of the pool now. The ripples have grown smaller. You reach out and barely touch the surface beside it. The water answers with one small ring that spreads outward, touches the rock, and returns. The feather spins once, then settles again, not away from you, but near. You close your eyes. The image of the mountain, the sea, the frost, and the wings stays behind your eyelids, shimmering faintly like a memory that doesn't need words. You take one more breath, the longest one yet. You hold it at the top and then let it fall in a sigh that feels like setting down something heavy you've carried too long. And in that space between exhale and dream, the cave offers its final gift, a voice so soft you almost think you imagined it. It is not in words. It is a feeling, shaped like a whisper. Rest now, traveler. The sea will hold you. The ice will keep you warm. The glow from the pool fades to silver, then to white, then to calm. You feel weightless. You feel home. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well, and may your dreams be gentle.